Hello, friends! Yesterday we read Beauty and the Beast in our big book about kindness. Good readers read stories more than once to help them understand the story and the characters better. Because when we read a story more than once, it helps our brains pick up on more details. So today we're going to read Beauty and the Beast again. This is the front cover, back cover, and the title. The title of this book is Let's Be Kind. And this is the spine. Now remember, this big book is special because it doesn't just have one story, it has a whole bunch of different stories. And when I open it up, I see the title page. That's just to remind you of the title in case you forgot. And when I turn the page again, I see a special place called the Table of Contents. The Table of Contents tells you where to find things. Now remember, friends, our story for today is called Beauty and the Beast. And when I move my finger across the page, I see that it's going to be on page 44. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 44. And there it is, Beauty and the Beast. And again, friends, this is the title, the author, and the illustrator. And remember, the author writes the words and the illustrator draws the pictures in the story, and those pictures are connected to the words on the page. Since this is the second time we are reading the story, we will be doing a close read. That means we will be taking a closer look at our story. Our focus this time is comparing and contrasting. When we compare and contrast, we look at two things closely to notice ways in which they're the same and different. Good readers compare and contrast unfamiliar thoughts, ideas, or things with familiar thoughts, ideas, and things. This helps us because when we use our own experiences, we can better understand new things. We will also be looking at strategies the author uses so we can learn to be better writers. The story element we will focus on today is setting. The setting is the location or place in the world and the time in which the story takes place. Settings can be realistic or they could be made up. The setting of a story or text is where all the action is taking place. It's where things happen. By identifying or figuring out the setting, the place, we can understand the information the author is giving us in context or where it is and make sense of it. All right, friends, let's get ready to read our story. Essential question: how does kindness affect others? Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, there lived a poor merchant with 3 lovely daughters. The youngest was so lovely, she was called Beauty. The poor family had once been rich. However, now all they had was a small farm in the country. As I read the beginning of the story, I notice the author takes time to introduce the setting, or where the story takes place. The last sentence and the illustration give details about the setting. The last sentence says, they live on a small farm in the country. And as we look on the illustration, we can see that the small farm has a little house, some trees, a horse, and some fields. We will continue to look at the illustrations and listen for details in the story to see if the setting changes. One day, the merchant's ship sailed into port filled with riches. As the merchant left to meet his ship, his oldest daughters asked him to bring back jewels. Beauty asked only for a rose. Good readers notice details in the story that are similar or almost the same. We learn more about the merchant's 3 daughters on page 46. As I think about how the sisters are alike, I notice they all ask their father to bring back something when he returns. The older sisters ask for something different than Beauty. This difference tells something about their personalities and what they value. The older sisters ask for jewels, showing they like expensive things. Beauty asks only for a rose, showing she likes simple, natural beauty more than expensive jewels. After paying his debts, though, the merchant was poor once again. he started home sadly. As night fell, he lost his way in the forest. After a while, he saw lights shining through the trees. The merchant hurried closer, hoping to find help. He saw a magnificent castle surrounded by a beautiful garden. As he approached the castle, no one greeted him. When he entered the castle, he saw no one and heard not a sound. The merchant sat down in front of an inviting fire where a delicious dinner had been prepared. He had hoped that he could soon thank his kind host, but nobody appeared. He neither saw nor heard any sign of life in the entire castle. Finally, he wandered through the castle and into a lovely garden. He remembered Beauty's request and picked a rose to take home to her. Just then, he heard a terrible roar. A frightful beast rushed toward him. The beast was furious. The terrified merchant threw himself on his knees. He begged for mercy. I meant no harm. I took the rose for one of my daughters. Please forgive me, he cried.
You must pay for stealing my rose after I paid you such kindness,
roared the beast.
Go home and bring me one of your daughters as payment for the rose. If they refuse, then you must return to be my prisoner.
The pale and shaking merchant returned home and told his frightful tale. The oldest daughter said he should not return. Beauty responded sadly, This beast deserves payment. You picked the rose for me, father. I will go. Her father protested, but Beauty insisted. As we read on, we find more details in the story about the sisters that tell how they are alike and different. All three girls hear their father's story at the same time. We can compare and contrast their reactions to the story. It seems as though they are all concerned for their father's well-being. However, they have different ideas about what he should do. The older sisters tell him that he should not return, but Beauty says that she will go. Beauty said goodbye to her sisters. Then she and her father bravely mounted their horses. Soon they reached the castle. Beast greeted them with a loud roar. Beauty felt certain that he would harm her. She tried to hide her fear and greeted him politely.
Did you come willingly?
Asked Beast in his terrible voice. Yes, answered Beauty.
You are very kind and brave,
said Beast.
Your father must leave and never come back.
As we read on, we can recall what we know about Beauty. She is kind, she likes natural beauty like roses, she is thoughtful to Beast and her father for agreeing to stay at the castle. Now that we know a little more about Beauty, we can compare and contrast her to Beast. They look very different as Beauty is beautiful and Beast looks scary. Beauty greets Beast politely and he answers in a terrible voice. If we look at the words Beast says, though, we can find some bits of kindness. He tells Beauty that she is very kind and brave. Those are kind things to say. This shows they might be alike in some ways. Beauty wept as her father left that night. Bravely, she tried not to worry. I'll explore the castle, she thought. Beauty found each room more brilliant than the last, until finally she came to a large door. She opened the door timidly. Inside, she saw shelves of books, a piano, music, and everything else she could wish for. That night at supper, Beast explained gruffly.
Everything in this castle is yours. I hope you will be happy here. I am only a lonely, miserable beast.
As I read through these pages, we learn more about the setting of the castle as Beauty goes around looking in it. The author says that Beauty found each room more brilliant than the last, so it must be a really amazing castle. Then, on page 57, we learn more details about what's beyond the large door. The author tells exactly what Beauty saw. Shelves of books, a piano, music, and everything else she could wish for. The ending of this description allows the reader to put in a few of their own favorite things. The specific details of what's in the room also helps create the setting. Months passed and Beauty had everything she needed. Beast turned out to be very kind. Beauty became used to his ugliness and began to like him. When we contrast characters, we tell how they are different. One big difference between Beauty and the Beast is how they look. Beauty is beautiful and Beast is not. When we compare characters, we tell how they are alike. We learned on this page that Beast turned out to be very kind. Beauty is also very kind. That is one way they are alike.
Beauty,
said Beast one evening.
I could not bear it if you ever left me. Please promise never to leave.
However, Beauty was homesick. She longed to see her father again. Please let me return home for 1 week, responded Beauty. We are good friends now, Beast. I promise to return, she begged.
I cannot let you suffer,
sighed Beast.
Please return as you promised. Take this ring. When you are ready to return, you need only turn it on your finger.
Beast sighed deeply. The next morning, Beauty awoke in her father's house. How happy the merchant was to see his daughter. He hugged and kissed her as he laughed and cried for joy. Beauty's jealous sisters were not at all happy to see her. They plotted to steal her ring so that Beauty could not return to her friend the Beast. Perhaps if she does not return, the Beast will be angry with her, they thought. As we read, we can compare and contrast the reactions of characters to an event. When Beauty returns home, her father is happy to see her. In contrast, the sisters are not happy to see her. This contrast shows how the father and older sisters reacted to Beauty's return differently. We may have to think a bit more to compare their reactions. Both the father and the older sisters did not want Beauty to return to Beast. That is the way the father and sisters think alike, but their reasons are very different. The father wanted Beauty to stay at home safe, but the sisters hoped Beast would become angry with Beauty. Their plan worked. Beauty stayed longer than a week and broke her promise to Beast. On the 10th night, Beauty dreamed of Beast. He lay in his garden full of despair. "Oh, my poor Beast," she cried. "He has a good and kind heart. I cannot leave him there lonely and sad." That night, Beauty retrieved the ring her sisters had stolen from her. She turned it on her finger and was transported back to the castle. Beauty ran to the garden. There lay Beast quite still. Beauty had forgotten his ugliness and bent over him. "Beast, do not be upset," cried Beauty. "I never knew how much I loved you until now. I cannot live without you, dear Beast." As Beauty spoke these words, a blaze of light sprang up, illuminating the whole castle. The Beast disappeared. A handsome prince stood in his place. "Where is my Beast?" gasped Beauty. "I am he," answered the prince. "I was changed into a beast. Only someone who could love me for my kindness could change me back. Please, Beauty, be my wife." Beauty and the prince married, and they lived happily ever after. Let's compare and contrast Beauty and the prince at the end of the story. First, I will compare them or think about how they are alike. Both are good looking now, and they're both kind, and they both live happily ever after. Then I will contrast or tell how they are different. Beauty is a woman and the prince is a man. Beauty was always kind and beautiful, and the prince was kind, but he was changed into a beast and then back into a prince. Yesterday, we looked at how stories can help us learn and understand new words. Let's look at some other new words. I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 54. The word certain means sure of, known for sure, or believing. So let's look and figure out what helps us understand that certain means sure of. Let's see. Soon they reached the castle. Beast greeted them with a loud roar. Beauty felt certain that he would harm her. So because he roared, that made Beauty feel for sure that the beast might harm her. We later learned that he wouldn't do that. Let's look at another word. The word explore means to wander through a new place. Let's see what can help us understand that. Bravely, she tried not to worry. I'll explore the castle, she thought. Beauty found each room more brilliant than the last, until finally she came to a large door. Well, I know that explore means to wander through a new place, and this is a new place for Beauty. She's never been here, and she wanders through the palace room by room. She is exploring it, wandering through it. I really enjoyed reading Beauty and the Beast again with you today. I can't wait to talk more about it in our pods. Do your best to hold all those important ideas in your brain, and I'll see you later.